Data engineering salaries keep moving upward. $160,000, $170,000, $190,000, and in some cases, even higher, which creates a clear perception. That data engineering is one of the strongest paths to high income in tech right now. But that perception only captures part of the system, because the salary is not just coming from the role, it's coming from where the role sits. And that position changes how value is assigned. Most engineering roles are tied to product output, features built, interfaces delivered, systems extended. The impact is visible, but often delayed. Data engineering works differently. It sits closer to how data moves, how it is collected, how it is stored, how it is transformed, and how it becomes usable. That movement is not optional. Modern systems depend on it. Without data flow, systems lose visibility. Without visibility, decisions degrade. And when decisions degrade, the entire system slows down. This creates a different kind of dependency, because the role is not just supporting the product, it is supporting the system behind the product. And that system affects everything: revenue models, user behavior, internal decisions, which makes the impact broader and harder to isolate. This is where value starts to shift, because companies don't assign value based only on output. They assign value based on influence, and data sits at the center of influence. It connects systems, it connects teams, it connects decisions, which gives the role leverage. But that leverage is conditional, because not all data roles are equal. There is a difference between data consumption and data infrastructure. Dashboards and reports sit on one side, pipelines and architecture sit on the other. Only one of those scales into higher compensation, because only one controls how data moves, and control is what drives value. This is why some data engineers move toward $190,000, and others don't, not because of effort, but because of position inside the system. The closer you are to data infrastructure, the higher the leverage. The closer you are to consumption, the more limited the growth. And this creates a split inside the same title. Two roles, same name, different outcomes. But there is another layer that shapes this path. Data engineering is tightly linked to scale. Small systems don't need complex pipelines. Small teams don't need large data infrastructure, which means high compensation appears only in environments where scale exists. Larger companies, data-heavy products, complex architectures, and these environments are limited. Not every company operates at that level. Not every system generates that level of data complexity. So even if the role grows, the number of high-value positions remains constrained. This creates a hidden filter. Many engineers move into data. Few move into high-leverage data environments. And that difference is not always visible early on, because titles look the same, responsibilities look similar, but the underlying system is different, and over time, that difference compounds. Some engineers stay in roles where data supports decisions, others move into roles where data defines decisions, and that shift changes everything, because defining decisions creates more leverage than supporting them. But there is also an operational reality behind this. Data systems do not fail in obvious ways. They degrade. Pipelines slow down. Data becomes inconsistent. Signals lose accuracy. And these failures are harder to detect, which increases the importance of the role. Because maintaining data integrity is not just technical, it is systemic. And that increases long-term responsibility. At higher levels, you are not just moving data, you are maintaining trust in the data, and that trust affects every decision built on top of it. This adds another layer of pressure, not visible from the outside, but constant inside the role. And like other high-leverage positions, that pressure compounds, expectations increase, tolerance for inconsistency drops, and visibility expands across the organization, which is why the role becomes more demanding over time, even as compensation increases. But even at the top range, the structure holds. Data engineering does not scale infinitely. You don't need unlimited people building pipelines. At some point, systems stabilize, pipelines mature, and complexity shifts elsewhere, which means the number of high leverage positions is limited, and that limitation creates competition. More people enter the field, fewer reach the top range, because the system does not expand at the same rate. This is where the perception breaks. From the outside, it looks like a fast-growing path, and it is, but only up to a point. After that, the same dynamics appear: slower growth, higher expectations, more competition, and eventually stabilization, not at the bottom, but not at the top either. So when you see data engineering salaries near $190,000, you are not looking at a guaranteed outcome. You are looking at a position inside the system, one that connects data flow with system decisions, and that connection creates value, but only for a limited number of roles, which is why some engineers reach that level, and most don't, not because they lack skill, but because the system does not assign that level broadly. This is part of what I break down step by step in the $200,000 system,